The day you learned it wasn't safe to be yourself, that is the day you decided to become someone else. That is the day where you decided to create a mask. That is the day where you decided to create a coping mechanism in order to fit into this world, in order to be accepted, in order to be valued, in order to be respected. But that is also the day where you lost yourself. That is the day where you lost the core of yourself. And when you potentially have become someone you don't really want to be. And when we talk about not really wanting to be someone you really want to be, that doesn't mean you have not become successful. You can be very successful. You can achieve a lot of things and still feel very empty inside. You can be very rich and still feel very empty inside. And you can try and compensate feeling empty by doing things all the time, by posting on Instagram how great your life is, by posting on social media what you all have in terms of possession, and by hoping that a lot of people will like you and give you a lot of likes because what you have done is so exceptional. And then the moment the likes are not there, you feel the same emptiness inside because you have come to really create an image of yourself, an image that you are not. Now, why is this? It is very simple. A child really wants very simple things. It wants to be loved, recognized, and appreciated for who it is. That's all we all want. That is, I would say, the core of the human need, to be loved and recognized for who you are. And when a child does not feel that, because in the early 7 years, it was rejected, it was conditionally loved. If you perform well, you will be loved. And you see that in some cultures where performance is extremely important. Some cultures, they'll drill their children, not for who they are, but they want to achieve something. These children need to achieve something. Later on, they need to become a master's. They need to have a master's, they need to become an engineer, they need to become a doctor, they need to become someone who's very successful. And they are drilled to the core to become that person. So the core image, the core message that these children get is, you are not loved for who you are. You are loved for who you need to become. You are loved for what we want you to be. And if you don't perform to that level, we will not recognize you. We will not appreciate you. You will be invisible to us. Or we will shame you that you don't really behave the way you should behave. And because a child only wants to be recognized for who it is, it wants to be valued for who it is going to do everything it can to make sure it gets this value. It gets this appreciation. And so it starts to adapt. It starts to adapt to the image that these other people, our caregivers, have pushed onto us by performing well, by being best in class, by making sure you get the attention for what you do. Not because you really want to do it, but because it will give you some kind of validation. But the truth is, even if you get that validation, it is very short-lived. You can literally enjoy it an hour, perhaps an evening, and that's it. And then you have to go for the next fix. You have to go for the next level of appreciation because it is never enough. What you need to get is, if internally your core is unbalanced, if internally you feel not appreciated, and internally you do not work on it, and internally you do not resolve it, no outside achievement, no outside performance, no outside recognition will ever bring you peace inside. And you will keep on chasing. You will keep on chasing until the rest of your life and never be fulfilled. You will never be this person who walks around really happy inside, singing your song, being happy with who you are, being really happy with your authentic self. You will live in a constant chase for recognition by a partner, chase for recognition by your boss, chase for recognition by your family members, chase for recognition by your club members. It will be a continuous chase that will never stop. And as with everything, if the core is not resolved, you will always need more. A bigger fix needs to be more intense. The experience needs to be even more expressive, needs to be even more emotionally charged in order to get some satisfaction. Up until you go to levels of extreme, to really feel that you're alive, to really feel that you've been valued. But still, that's not the answer. The answer is that originally you didn't really feel welcomed for who you are. But you forgot. You forgot that you were not welcome. Because that feeling is very subtle. It lives in a memory long ago, where there wasn't even a memory. Because the first 7 years where this emotional imprint is stored in your nervous system is by most people forgotten. If you ask most ordinary people to tell you what they felt their first 5 or 7 years, most of them, they just go blank. They have no idea, because this is not where memory was formed. So the biggest impact in your life lies in this first 5 to 7 years where you have no recollection of, except in extreme circumstances where you are like hugely traumatized. But the most subtle emotions that you felt there, which really hurt you or which really had an impact on you, you have no memory of. And still, those aspects of your life, they run your life. And they make sure that you have the life that you have. And for some, it will mean that you will keep on chasing images. A person they are not, never really finding peace inside. So finding out what happened the first 7 years, clearing up that imprint, clearing up the disformations that were there, clearing up the subtle traumas that was there is key. And when I talk about trauma, again, I'm not implying here that this is trauma of people who are hugely abused, had parents who were alcohol addicted. That can be, of course, that will for sure create a lot of trauma, or sexually abused, for instance. But most people, and this is what you need to realize, most people, even if they had in their eyes a good childhood, a decent childhood, they will still have trauma. Very subtle. A huge disappointment they had when they were a child, which is stored in the nervous system and which is determining their life. Finding out those subtle emotions, mapping those out, that will be the key for your liberation. And that will be the key to really live a life that is yours. Not a life that is compensation, not a life that is looking for validation from the outside world, but a life where you truly value you, yourself, and where you really come in peace with yourself, and where you start to glow internally, happy inside, a warm heart, and a fulfilling dream. That's where the core print can help you to map these feelings, to map what really went on in these early 7 years that is so determining of the image that you're building.